Hello, my name is Blake Robinson, and in this video I'm going to be going over my Python code that I use to create my Talion Calculator program. In another video, which will be linked in the description, I have a demo to how to use the code and more in depth on the thought process behind it. And this video goes more through kind of the behind the scenes, the program that actually makes this application work. So really briefly, this program was built to be a tool to help people answer the question, what is the best number to pick when playing the card Talion the Kindly Lord in a game of Commander? So Talion says when it enters the battlefield, choose a number between 1 and 10, and then whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value, power, or toughness equal to the chosen number, that person loses 2 life, and you draw a card. So to answer this question, I connected to edhREC and went to their top cards. And edhREC uses JSON dictionaries for a lot of their for a lot of their website design. And one of them, if we just go into this one here, we can see this JSON dictionary literally through the card views dict. We can see the name of every card, so we can just make a request to this JSON document and get the most updated data from them. Unfortunately, you may notice that Talion cares about the mana value, power, and toughness of cards, and this only gives us the name. So we had to use another resource here. I used mtg.json. They've got an atomic cards file, which literally has every card that Magic the Gathering has ever printed, and provides oracle text, provides the mana values, power, toughness, cost, keyword abilities, basically anything that we would want to know about a card, all sorted by name. So you can see under the data, the first card we see in that dictionary is Akon's Run. And let's see, if I type mana value, see if it'll pop up. There we go. As you can see, Akon's Run has a mana value of 6. I don't know if it has a power or toughness, but if we were to look at other cards in here, right, you can see basically for every card it has the mana value, power, and toughness listed. Yeah, so anyways, we used these two, both edhREC and mtg.json, to pull the data that we needed to make the program run. If we go into the code here, we'll go Python. We'll just run this code locally instead of through the website. Let's take a look at like the top 10,000 cards, and when we run it here, you can see that right in the top 10,000 most played cards in Commander, the number 3 will trigger Talion the most. So there you go. Hopefully that's some useful information to use if you plan on using Talion in a game of Commander. But let's go through the actual code here. So first things first, we're just grabbing an input, and then we're connecting to well, and I should say that input is going to be an integer. I do some input validation on the website, making sure that the number submitted is a number between 1 and 1 and 40,000, or I don't know the exact number, but it's however many cards there are in Magic the Gathering. We grab that number. We then connect to that. We connect to this edhREC page to grab that information of the top most played cards, and we basically initialize a variable to 0, and then we go through one at a time. per card. So we start with 0 and we get Soul Ring. And then we increment that variable up 1. And if it's less than the input value, then we go to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So that's how we go through each of the cards. And for each one, we basically create this empty list here called top cards, and we're going to grab that card name and add it to the list. Now, we have to do this a little bit uniquely. We can't just take that name, because edhREC, some cards are double-sided, and if a card has two sides, then there are basically two different name dictionaries in here, and the front side will be under one, and then the back side will be under a different name. And the MTG JSON atomic card file, they put the names of cards, if there is a two-sided card, they have it separated by 2 forward slashes. So the front side of the card, 2 forward slashes, the back side of the card. So if we were to just update the name, we wouldn't be able to pull the data from MTG JSON. So if we go in here, the first thing we try to do is update the name as the front side of the card, 2 forward slashes the back side of the card, and if that try attempt fails due to a key error, we're just going to take the name. So that's the thought process there. After we have this list of top cards, given the input number, we go ahead and send a request to the atomic cards file, and we just instantiate a values list, which is basically going to be for every card. We're going to see which values that card would trigger if you were to cast it. So if we were to cast, Eternal Witness. Eternal Witness has a mana value of 3, a power of 2, and a toughness of 1. So it would trigger on 3, 2, and 1. Soul Ring has a mana value of 1, so it just triggers on 1. So anyways, for each card, what we're going to do is basically figure out the mana value of that card based on the name from the atomic card file. Every card has a mana value, so we can just we can always pull that and add it to the values list. However, if the card is a creature or a vehicle, it will also have a power and toughness. And so that's what we do here. We basically, for each card, we figure out, is it a creature or vehicle? If so, we're going to pull that creature's power. And then we check to make sure that the power is different than the mana value, right? Because if we were to cast... what's a good card example here? If I go ahead and find a creature, perfect, Llanowar Elves, right? Llanowar Elves has a mana value of 1. It also has a power of 1, and it also has a toughness of 1. But if a person casts Llanowar Elves, it's only going to trigger Talion on the value 1 time. Even though its power, toughness, and mana value are all 1, it's not like Talion gets 3 triggers, right? So we only want it to count towards the value 1 once. However, if we look at, the example I used earlier here. Yeah, if we looked at this card, Reclamation Sage has a mana value of 3, 2, and 1. And so if Talion were on the battlefield for 1, this would trigger, 2, this would trigger, and 3, this would trigger. So we do want to record those values separately. It's just if there's overlap, right, like with Sun Titan, because Sun Titan's mana value, power, and toughness are all 6, we don't want it to count towards 6 3 times. We only want it to count towards 6 once. So that's what we do here. We make sure that the mana value is not equal to the power, and if so, we add it to the values list. And then again, we do that with toughness, except this time we check that the toughness is not the same as the mana value and the power, and if so, we add it. Now, sometimes creatures have powers and toughness where it's not a clearly defined integer. It's like a star value. Let me see, Hydroid. I think Hydrocrassus falls in this. Oh no, that's a 0/0. Just look at Hydra. Surely there'll be one in here. Perfect. I assume we can use this. Now this is not a commander legal card, but the point still remains. Oh, here. This is perfect. Uvenwald Hydra. Uvenwald Hydra's power and toughness are star values, and so depending on what is happening in the game, these values could change. So we don't want our program to fail if someone, if it's pulling up Uvenwald Hydra as, one of the top cards. So if it can't figure out the power or toughness, we're just going to pass. We're not going to hold it, since it's going to be variable each game that the card is played. If for whatever reason let's say a card is brand new and it hasn't yet been updated in the Atomic Cards database, it's very unlikely, but just to make sure, we also have this this accept pass error to make sure our code doesn't crash if it can't figure out the mana value of a card or the power or toughness. So finally, all we do is we go ahead and make the calculation. So we figure out how many times that each of the numbers show up as we figure out how many times 1 shows up in this values list, how many times 2 shows up in this value list, 3 shows up. So we basically start at 0 and we go until we get to the max value of that list. We figure out the number and what percentage of the numbers that is, and we share that as the result here. So this is not the exact code that is used for the website, but it's what I based, this was the original program that I modified to make it work with my website. That said, if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is listed on my website. It's also on the screen here. I'm more than happy to, like I said, answer any questions, or if you have any ideas on other programs you'd like me to write. I'm always looking to learn new things and keep myself busy, so I would be more than happy to discuss that with you. Thanks so much, and have a great rest of your day.